Hey everybody, welcome back to Whiteboard Finance. My name is Marco and I'm here to help you master your money and build your wealth. In today's video, we're going to talk about 5 different ways to invest in real estate, so stay tuned. So we all know that real estate is part of a well-balanced investment portfolio. So let's start with number 1. This is going to be pretty self-explanatory and I'm going to call this the traditional route. So what I mean by traditional is pretty much just acquiring a piece of investment property yourself. So this could either be a piece of land that's waiting to be developed. This can be, a single family home. It could be a strip mall. It could be an apartment building. It just depends on how much experience and capital you have. But I call this the traditional route. It's essentially hunting for your own deals or using a broker to bring you deals. And whichever route you decide to go with, whether you're looking at single family or commercial or whatever, you could be self-storage. Just make sure that you have the proper team around you. So what I mean by proper team is if you do decide to work with a broker as opposed to trying to find off-list deals yourself or off-market deals yourself, make sure that you have a good broker, real estate agent, CPA, lawyer, and also contractor or a manager that you trust, okay? Because you're only as strong as your team is going to be. If you start investing in a bunch of single family homes, those are going to grow out of control and it could become a headache if you don't know what you're doing or if you don't have the proper systems in place. So let's just say you do want to go the single family route. You want to talk to everyone you know and tell them that you're interested in this product type. So say, for example, you're out to dinner Saturday night with some friends or family, or you're catching up with colleagues, and you just want to tell everyone you know that, hey, I'm looking to buy single family homes in this neighborhood, or I'm looking to buy, whatever. I'm a real estate investor, I'm interested in X. So once you start repeating that to people, they're either going to look at you like you have 3 heads and they're not going to know what you're talking about, or they're going to say, oh, my mom just went to a nursing home, or my buddy's mom just went to a nursing home. She has a house for sale. Would you be interested in it? So off-market deals are going to be your bread and butter, but it all depends. If you can find good deals on the MLS, which is the multiple listing service as well. So with all that being said, if you do decide to go the single family route, I knew that there's going to be some things on this list that you guys don't know about, and this may be one of them. And it's not a sponsor, I just want to make you aware of it. There's actually a service called Roofstock, and if you want to learn more about them, the link will be in the description below. It basically connects you with people who are looking to sell a single family home as a rental. Okay, so it comes with management in place and it tells you all the numbers, the neighborhood, all that good stuff. It's kind of cool, so go check it out. So number 2, I'm sure you've heard of, we call these REITs. So a REIT, they've been around pretty much since the 60s. What REITs stand for is Real Estate Investment Trust. So what a REIT is, or what a REIT does, is that it's a publicly or privately held company that owns income generating property. REITs were created to give the everyday investor access to a more prestigious or difficult to break into asset class, which is typically commercial real estate. So REITs are almost always comprised of commercial real estate, such as shopping malls, senior living, strip malls, plazas, whatever, you name it. Pretty much anything can become a REIT if you really get big enough. Even self-storage can become a REIT. So REITs are required to have at least 75% of their gross income coming from real estate related resources, and they have to invest at least 75% of their total asset value in real estate. So they can't just start breaking off into making shampoo or cars, for example. It always has to be real estate related. Those are the guidelines. Also, the biggest caveat and why REITs are popular with people in retirement is that they must distribute no less than 90% of their taxable income every year to their shareholders in the form of a dividend. So REITs historically pay pretty high dividends as well. So this is an asset class that you may be interested in if you want to realize that passive income from dividends. Number 3 is an up-and-comer. It's been around for about, I'd say, 6 to 10 years at this point, but there have been multiple companies that work in the online crowdfunding space. So basically what an online crowdfunding company does is if you want to invest in like actual tangible real estate, so like the apartment building down the street or the shopping mall down the street, you can do this without the headache of having to manage these properties and try and get tenants and do all that stuff. So if you're interested in a passive income stream via real estate and you want to actually own a tangible building as opposed to a piece of a company like you would with a REIT, then online crowdfunding may be, the thing for you. So think of online crowdfunding as basically a real estate version of a mutual fund where investors pool their money together to provide either debt or equity for these deals. And one of its biggest benefits of real estate crowdfunding is that it allows investors to diversify their portfolio, as I mentioned earlier, with real projects. So you're not just investing into a company like you would a REIT, you're actually investing into an actual tangible project, okay? It could be a hotel, could be a mall, could be, redeveloping multifamily buildings. It's actually pretty cool, so check those out. So the reason these are passive is because these projects typically have management teams in place that are already doing the construction, the rehab, the leasing, taking care of the tenants. So you really don't have to be woken up at 2 a.m. with someone saying, hey, I got a clogged toilet, come fix this, Mr. Landlord. So this is pretty cool. A few popular options, if you haven't heard of this route or companies that do this, are Fundrise, Realty Mogul, and Peer Street. And if you want to learn more about those companies, you can actually look at the links in the description below. Or there's going to be a thing that pops up right here, I believe. Maybe here, maybe here. I actually did a review on Fundrise about a couple weeks ago and invested $1,000 of my own money. That way you can track it with me without any skin in the game if you don't want to. Number 4 has become super hot over the last few years, and we call this syndication. So a lot of syndicators and sponsors are running around these days just because the market is super hot, which is a good and a bad thing. So you want to be careful. So if you don't know what real estate syndication is, this is when a sponsor pitches a project to a group of investors, aka you potentially, and pools the money together to invest in actual deals. So it's very similar to online crowdfunding, except you are working with much more intimately with the deal team and with the sponsor as well. So if you guys are familiar with Grant Cardone, the 10X guy that'll 10X your life, 10X your business. I sold fish. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's probably not funny. If you do know what I'm talking about, it's hilarious. He sold fish and now he's selling real estate syndications. So this is how he makes money with Cardone Capital, okay? Syndications typically start at a minimum investment of $50,000, even though I've seen some that start at $25,000. Depending on the deal, you may have to be an accredited investor, which means you have a net worth of $1 million without your primary residence, or a income of $200,000 or more per year within now and the foreseeable future. But there are definitely now ways to get around that accredited investor caveat or criteria. So the way the sponsor or the way these deals works is that the sponsor pitches the deal and they usually get compensated for putting the deal together through fees. So they have like a piece of the deal, which is the equity for them. They can either put up their own money or not, and then they get an acquisition fee, a management fee, and a disposition fee. So if you're working on a big, let's call it $10 million real estate syndication, let's just say it's a 300 unit apartment building somewhere, they're getting a lot of money off those fees, even though they only may be 1 or 2%, okay? Now, that's where the red flags come into play, okay? There are sponsors that pitch crappy deals because they're just getting compensated off the fees. They don't care about the quality of the deal because they may not necessarily have any skin in the game. They're getting a portion of the equity, but they're not putting up any of their own money, okay? So you want to make sure if you go the syndication route that the sponsor is putting skin in the game and they actually have their own money in the deal as well. That way, like I said, they have skin in the game and they know they believe in their product, if you will. And number 5, this is my least favorite way of making money, even though you can make a lot of money in real estate doing this, and that's house flipping. So that doesn't mean picking up the foundation of a house and flipping it. This means acquiring a property for X, selling it at a much higher rate for Y, at Y, okay? So there's a lot of ways that you can acquire off-market deals or acquire deals that have potential and a lot of upside. But the thing is, flipping houses is risky, okay? It can be very lucrative if you have the proper team and systems in place. However, in my opinion, the cons outweigh the pros for sure. That's just me because my risk tolerance is a little bit lower than this. There's so many factors that can go wrong while flipping a house. You can have the economy changing. You can have lending or funding changing. You can open up walls in the single family home and find mold and electrical problems and a whole bunch of things like that. There could be break-ins. There could be contractors that rip you off. There's time holding the deal, interest, all that stuff. So I don't want to ramble on, but there's a million cons. The pros is that, you're basically making a lot of money in a very short period of time, okay? So The thing I don't like about house flipping is that you're basically buying yourself a job. So as opposed to like syndications or online crowdfunding with like Fundrise, for example, I literally sleep and can make money from number 3 and 4, okay? Even number 2 as well. 1 and 5, it may require a little bit more work and a little bit more sweat equity. But don't downvote the video if you believe in house flipping or traditional real estate. I mean, that's just my opinion. So you can make a lot of money, and if you want to watch 2 videos I have on my channel, I did one with Jared Lichten. He did a house flip over here in Cleveland, and also my buddy Roman, he also did a house flip as well, and he made, I think, like 30-40 grand within a couple of months. So check those out if you haven't already. So there you have it, everybody. Those were 5 ways to invest in real estate, with also a couple of services that you may or may not heard about. In my opinion, the easiest way is investing passively, either through REITs, a platform like Fundrise, number 3, and then also syndications as well. I haven't personally used this or done a syndication just yet, but I already know 4 or 5 sponsors, both locally and online, who I like and trust. I don't know if I'm going to give them 50 grand just yet, but ultimately I will go this route when I have 50 grand allocated. Other than that, REITs have been good to me, and also Fundrise. We'll see. You can follow that journey on my channel as well. So if you're hands-on, definitely buy your own rental unit. It's definitely a good primer and a good way to learn. It's basically a good school, if you will. It's kind of like the school of hard knocks. But again, if you want to go passive, definitely recommend 2, 3, or 4. So hope you got value out of this video, everybody. Please share the video with one friend or anybody that's interested in real estate investing. And as always, everybody, have a prosperous day. Dude, 50 grand, I wish, bro. About to buy me a nice 7 Series with 50. Oh, is this still recording? Have a prosperous day.